All right. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of I Can Do This All Day. I'm Dan, the part-time Avenger, and Mark, the resident Jedi.
Hello there. Today we are leaving reality, taking a long and arduous trip through snow and canyons and in a plane and on rollerblades to Barbie Land and giving you our thoughts on this new pink cultural phenomenon.
John Wick 4.
I think it'd be easier to review.
So Barbie, we're talking about Barbie in case you didn't get it. But yeah, Barbie, the doll, the toy, the primarily girls' toy. However, there has been like decades upon decades of Barbie toys, and finally Mattel comes out with a movie. Mark, do you think that this movie would come out? And what did you think when you saw like the trailers for it?
I paid very little mind to this movie. When I saw it was coming out, I could not say that I was excited. I didn't really think about it either way. When Amy Schumer was originally attached to it, I was like, well, maybe it'll be snarky then. But apparently she did not like the way it was going, so she disengaged. And they got Margot Robbie, who I enjoy, but I did not go into this movie with expectations of being wowed or of learning a deep lesson.
Amy Schumer, who was originally cast, she found out that the movie was going to be funny, so she was like, "Nope, this is not in my league." So,
yeah, can't do comedies. Done enough comedies. Moving on.
Yeah. Gosh, arguably she's a comedian. I don't know. She is funny, but she's come under fire by the stand-up comedy crowd out there that she steals jokes and everything. So I'm just going to continue to fan that fire and just flame on. So
I didn't know she was Carlos Mencia.
Oh, she is. She absolutely is. They like to steal jokes. There's been a lot of YouTube clips out there, but neither here nor there. We've got Margot Robbie in as Barbie, and I think that's probably the best casting choice for Barbie. I will go into a little bit more of the casting because there's plenty of people in this movie, but let's go over some details about how you saw this. Where did you see it? Were you sitting front row like you always do?
Yes, of course, front row. But I saw it on like a random Tuesday night, this past Tuesday night, the Tuesday well after the opening and release of the movie. I would say this was the most active crowd that I've been part of all year. Actually, probably since pandemic. So, yeah.
When you say active, what was active about it?
Like they laughed at the funny parts and it was loud.
You mean like what they should do in a movie?
Yeah,
Like
well, but dude, crowds have not been the same at movies lately, we went to a few things on opening night and it just hasn't been, at least from my experience, it hasn't been the same. But maybe that's because there haven't been that many laugh out loud or like really good, exciting movies that have come out either.
I think that might be the case, but also you do have a tendency to go during times where it's a few days later or whatever. But Tuesdays are usually pretty crowded because of the theater specials, anyways. So that's pretty good.
$5 Tuesday.
Yeah, I went on the weekend, opening weekends, pretty packed theater. I don't know if every single seat was taken, but everything in the upper area was taken. A lot of people dressed up in pink. My whole family was decked out in as much beach wear as you can have for the boys. And then my wife was dressed up in a pink dress and she wore her blonde's little Barbie wig too. So it was a good time and a nice little excuse for us to get dressed up and just kind of have fun with everything.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So were you excited about this movie? It sounds like you all cosplayed it up.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of expectations, we thought this was going to be a fun movie. I went in with a pretty open mind. I figured that they were going to be taking the piss out of a lot of stuff. So I was like, okay, well, it's not like I was a big Barbie fan when I was younger, and I really don't care about the toys. But I kind of knew that this wasn't going to be about the toys. This was going to be about a bunch of humor that I probably would understand anyways. I thought maybe the best Barbie humor out of everything was still in Toy Story 3 and some of the Toy Story animated shorts. And that was with Michael Keaton as Ken. I can't remember who played Barbie in that, but yeah, I mean, I was fine with it. I was open. It wasn't one of those times where, like I saw some guys that were being dragged into the movie theater where the girlfriend or the wives were dressed up and the guy's wearing his like trucker hat and jorts from his best pair of jorts to really show out at the movie theaters. So I was okay. I was good with it. What about you? Any excitements? What were your expectations going in?
No, I watched it solely so we could talk about it because this may be the most requested movie we've podcasted because
All right.
all of our female listenership that are family demanded it.
So the opening from the beginning, tell me, were you in right away?
So when I saw this, I was like, are they doing 2001 A Space Odyssey? These are highbrow jokes. I'm kind of all about this. So when they did the evolution of Barbie and made Barbie the black monolith, when they made it from 2001, and they used the music, I was like, wow. And they made the little girls fight like the men in ape suits. I was like, dude, this you had me at hello.
I thought it was very entertaining right at the beginning. Helen Mirren was narrating, so that was kind of cool. But I saw that stuff in the trailer, so I wasn't surprised by anything. It's funny, don't get me wrong. I think it's just that opening for the trailer was kind of like, okay. Well, if I wouldn't have seen that in the trailer, I would have been probably a little bit more into it right off the bat.
Dude, this is just all the more reason that you need to stop watching trailers.
I know,
but I mean, my life, bro.
We watch movies. We watch movies in theaters, and there's trailers before movies. So,
I show up 15 minutes late to every movie I go to.
I like getting there early so that way I could feast on my popcorn and whatever snacks that I smuggle in. Speaking of, any smuggling of the snacks, or was it just a regular legal purchase of popcorn?
It was a regular legal purchase. I was disappointed actually because AMC does their $5 Fridays, and I was reading online that they had like a $10 popcorn and soda, like a small combo situation that you could do. And my AMC not participating.
It used to be where like on Tuesdays that they would do like even the deals on popcorn and pop and everything, but they don't even do that anymore.
When I asked, I got looked at like an asshole. So
we don't even have the free refills anymore, so we can't even go out and get refills.
You don't? Bastards. I get it with my stubs. Stubs. Yeah.
They don't do
that
it.
Stubs thing.
In order for them to continue to keep their prices high, they're not offering free refills. So Cinemark, come on, help a brother out. I go there all the time. Give me some fucking free refills.
Another thing that shocked me right at the beginning of this movie, they did the cast thing, they did the wake up, and then I got slapped in the face by the fact that a Marvel superhero was in this movie.
So you didn't know he was in this before?
No idea. Raw Dog in this movie, no trailers. And I was like, wow, really?
I was in when I saw that he was on the cast list. I was like, okay, cool. This is going to be a fun movie. So I was down for it. I had no idea there were going to be so many people in it, but very cool to see Simu Liu in as one of the Kens, one of the many Kens, and just so many other people in as Barbie and Ken. So it was pretty awesome. And then of course you have Michael Cera as Alan, the legitimate toy Alan, who is like the one-off Ken's friend and never to be heard from or seen again until this movie. Pretty sweet.
And they brought pregnant Barbie back. Don't forget, which was funnier, Alan or pregnant Barbie?
I mean, I'm going to have to go with pregnant Barbie in the toy world just because hilarious. You're going to be marketing pregnant dolls to little girls. That's just kind of funny to me. That's like, Papa Boner Ken. Like that would just be the most ridiculous thing that anyone could come up with. Like, check out Ken as he gets aroused, and then doesn't make sense. Toys for children does not make sense. But in the movie, holy shit. The best part of the movie, Michael Cera is Alan. When and I don't want to go too far into it, but Can we just agree that him kicking the shit out of those guys was the best part of the entire movie?
It was almost as unexpected as Shang-Chi's amazing dance moves. Where did he learn to dance like he was on Broadway?
That guy has so much talent, it's ridiculous. He's an athlete, he's a martial artist, he's a dancer, he can act. He does a lot of, or has done a lot of dancing. I don't know if you've seen any of his like Instagram videos, but he'll do some dancing with like dance troops and stuff. And even some of like the other stuff prior to Shang-Chi, he would do some like dancing videos with people, and guys got skills. I mean, I have to hand it to him.
I'm just saying, I was shocked at how on point, because he was basically dancing with like a Mouseketeer the whole movie and did not miss a step.
Probably the worst Mouseketeer, I would say. Like, I don't know.
I don't think that he was the worst. There were many worse Mouseketeers.
The worst famous one. I think that's probably, he can dance, he can do choreography, singing not the best singer. He can sing on point or on key, but I mean that's about all he has going for him. Not exactly the lead for a vocal song like he has later on in the movie.
I would say that he may be the most versatile Mouseketeer, especially that came out of that troupe.
Bullshit.
Oh,
when Britney Spears can do movies, dancing, and crack, sorry,
Britney Spears can't act. Did you see?
Did it. Hold on. You're bringing up acting. You're gonna completely avoid the fact that I said she also does crack. That's the joke. That's the best part about her. She's the most versatile, hands down, most versatile. How many other people in the Mouseketeers do you know that did crack? So,
Brittany, I would guess if we went down the list, there's gonna be Goldberg, the Mouseketeer,
but
somewhere in there.
But like, still slaying it right now. Queen Britney still slaying it for all her fans out there. Still dancing in a drug-induced haze.
Yeah,
looking straight into the camera. So most talented for sure.
Leave Britney alone.
When it comes to talent and humor, it's one of those things where you have like a really perfect blend of everyone in this movie. You have such a diverse cast. You have a lot of big names, a lot of big surprises. But yeah, the fashion is another thing, right? So you had the fashion that was kind of on point and on brand with everything in regards to Barbie. One thing in particular, though, is the Birkenstocks. So when you see the Birkenstocks, what were your thoughts?
So I thought it was hilarious that it was the anti-Barbie shoe, right? So we're skipping past some plot, but regardless, Barbie gets depressed and puts on comfortable shoes.
Are they comfortable? I don't even know if those are comfortable.
Oh, dude, I love me some Birks. I'm wearing Birkenstocks now.
I think it should have been Crocs. I honestly think they should have put Crocs in there, because that's where you know that you've pretty much given up on life, or at least your physical appearance towards other people. Crocs.
I feel like there's got to be a transition. You can't go from high heels all the way down to Crocs, and they don't own that license. I'm sure Birkenstock was like, yeah, we'll make pink sandals and make a buttload of money.
Like you said that, I think that's the best thing to do though, right? Because Barbie's going from this perfect world where she's the shit and she's the only thing that matters in the matriarchy and Barbie land. You go to Crocs. And maybe even some mismatched Crocs, or maybe even some like red, white, and blue stars and stripes Crocs. That's where you should have gone.
I mean, I also have red, white, and blue stars and stripes Crocs. Bust those out for 4th of July every year.
I bet you do.
That's not even a joke. It's not. It's so true.
I still have not bought a pair of Crocs, or and I've not accepted.
They didn't just give you a pair when you moved to Florida. I thought that was just part of, like, you get Crocs and a lightweight fishing shirt that's long sleeve. Like, isn't that what they just give everybody that goes to Florida? Isn't that part of the like welcome wagon?
I thought it was like the Oakleys and a pair of flip-flops. That's what it was. But
okay. With the strap in the back though that floats.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot about the welcome package did come with a Salt Life bumper sticker
Oh
that you put up
yes, yes.
there. God
And the
damn it.
hat that you can't wear backwards because it's got a flap, so you'd look like you were in the Klan, which may
Oh
actually
man.
be useful in Florida. I'm not sure.
I think it should have gone to Crocs because it would have been just like a lot funnier of a joke. Birkenstocks is stylish and fashionable, somewhat to a certain degree, right? And the fact that they were pink, yeah, I get it. It kind of made sense, but yeah, well, we can move on from that. I want to make it known that I want to see, like, you're all about a hero's journey. Barbie should have taken a hero's journey all the way up from Crocs. That would have been more impressive, in my opinion.
The Barbie journey, right? The move, because the beginning was great. All the Barbies are all the things. They're all achieving things, and then Barbie starts talking about death, which I thought was funny. And then we meet my possible favorite character, Weird Barbie.
I was happy with that casting, and I think it was perfect. I think she always plays a great weirdo, and she does it proudly. Uh, and I really just think that she's herself, which is there's nothing wrong with that. I
Kate
don't think there's
McKinnon,
ever been a time where I'm like,
chef's kiss.
yeah, like, you know what? I've had enough of Kate McKinnon. Like, no, I've never thought that ever. I've always thought she's like the best on any SNL skit. She was the best in the female Ghostbusters. God, I mean, I could keep going on and on, but it's like for that type of casting, it's good that they showed like the opposite side of like, yeah, that type of thing happens. Like, there's always that toy that you use and abuse and then you make all fucked up. And there you go. There's Weird Barbie.
So did you have a favorite Barbie from this movie?
Whoever the John Cena Ken was, that was pretty much like my favorite out of all of them. When I saw him, I was just like, yes, John Cena does it again. He is the comedic relief in every movie. He's the best in every movie, whether it's a 10-second cameo or he has a major part in it. Happy with it. Happy with it for sure. As for Barbie, I mean, I don't have a favorite. I guess I'll say Dua Lipa as her, whatever version of Barbie she was, just because I like Dua Lipa. But yeah, that's it.
So you were partial to all the mermaids in this movie, and that's fine. That's fine. So as we transition out of Barbie Land, where Barbie has to go find her person, I think the best thing that I saw when we left Barbie Land was that Will Ferrell was the CEO of Mattel.
I have a love-hate relationship with Will Ferrell. So I like Will Ferrell as a whole, but there's times where I'm just like, Will Ferrell, can you just dial it back a little bit? Like, this isn't your movie. It just, and this is one of those movies where I was like, most of it was pretty funny, but there's times where I'm just like, yep, Will Ferrell does it again. He just kind of goes over the top and he kind of ruins the jokes and stuff. And there's times where he definitely elevated a scene, but it's yeah, I don't know. I just don't appreciate Will Ferrell as much unless he is in an ensemble cast that can play off of him well, like an Anchorman where you have Paul Rudd and Steve Carell. And those guys can play off of him and it makes him okay because it kind of levels out his over the topness. But this one, it was just, he says some goofy shit and it's like, yeah, not so funny. I don't know. What are your thoughts on Will Ferrell as a whole? I mean, I guess you love him,
I
but
love me some Will Ferrell. I love me some Will Ferrell. I love the fact that he had drumsticks because I was like, Brendan would be the CEO of Brendan from Step Brothers as the CEO of Mattel. Sounds amazing.
like I said, I have a love-hate relationship with him. Like, there's some things that some people do not find funny at all with Will Ferrell. Semi-Pro being one of them. I absolutely love that movie.
That movie's
Semi-Pro,
amazing.
so goddamn funny. I'll watch it right now. I'll do a review on it right now. I know that movie like the back of my hand. For Will Ferrell as a CEO or like the Mattel guy, right? You didn't find it corny at all that he's kind of really playing it up. Like, you couldn't just go with like a almost like a Judd Nelson or even like an Al Pacino or Robert De Niro or something like that, where it's just like I would have almost gone more for like the serious type as opposed to like the comedic CEO.
So when your point when the point of the movie is to play up the ridiculosity of the patriarch, you kind of want an idiot in charge.
You get Tom Cruise. That's what you get.
Tom Cruise
Tom,
with big hands.
Tom Cruise as Les Grossman would have killed it in this movie.
Yeah, but you can't cuss out Barbie.
You absolutely can. Absolutely. He can say some shit bombs in there. Plenty of shit bombs.
I don't know. I think that the only people that can pick on Barbie were those girls at that school who I think like low key were supposed to represent the Bratz dolls because they were all kind of. Do you remember the Bratz doll, like the Barbie competitor with the giant heads?
I had heard about the theory that that's what it was. And I think that that's really what they did is just, you know, they're modeled around the Bratz. I just knew Bratz from commercials, and it's not like I paid a whole lot of attention to them. I had no idea they were competitors against Barbie. I just thought Barbie was Barbie and Bratz were Bratz. I didn't think about that stuff when I was a young kid. And because I didn't think about it then, I definitely don't think about it now. But it's an interesting take. I like the fact that they brought that up and they put some subtleties in there, but also for people that have been really big avid Barbie fans, you get a chance to see like, oh, cool, that's a cool callback. Like, I don't know if you'll notice it, but I notice it. So it's good. It's a good callback to that stuff. And I appreciate it. And I like the fact that they have that deeper sense of humor and deeper sense of presentation as opposed to everything just like straight on the nose.
Yeah. I just thought it didn't need to be deep at all. I just thought it was hilarious that they basically called her a fascist and made her cry.
I kind of think that's just real life, though. I think they add that in as like real life. There's a lot of campiness to this movie, but in reality, the way that I viewed it, there's a lot of serious takes. And it's like, that's where I found myself really interested. I was like, oh yeah, this isn't exactly what there's going to be some takeaways from people. There's like, this is just a movie about women empowerment. And it's not just about that. It's a lot deeper than that. So, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on, but yeah, it's cool. I like the fact that it's deeper than just face value stuff. But at the same time, there's a lot of stuff that's just right there that you can just appreciate and laugh at and giggle at right off the bat.
So when we got to this part of the movie, we're introduced to a few additional cast members who played a really big part in this, and one of them's America Ferrera. I thought she was awesome in this movie. You have no thoughts?
I don't.
So many thoughts on Will Ferrell, none on America.
I think it was a good cast. I honestly don't know if I have enough to say about the supporting Barbie casts. I had no problems with it. It just wasn't like, that really impresses me. You know, what did impress me is stupidness, but also seriousness that Ken brought to the table and just the nuances from the male perspective. So I think for me going into this, I was thinking this was just going to be like a girl power, men are pieces of shit. And that's what the whole message was going to be throughout the movie. And it kind of is. But at the same time, you see a little bit more of like, yeah, men are being treated like shit in Barbie land. And the guys are just going to be like, so they pull the flip, right? Because
are they being treated like shit, or are they just, they're not the focus. So they're sad about that.
I would say they're treated like shit. Because if you flip that, what would a female say if you were marginalized and not being focused on?
Welcome,
you would say that you'd be treated like shit.
Welcome to America.
Exactly. Right. So that's why I think that's a fair statement. I don't, this isn't I'm not trying to get into like a feminist argument or anything like that. I think it's just the truth where it's like they flip the script on, they do it very well. Because there's times where you're thinking like, yeah, it should be Barbie in charge of everything. And then there's like, you see the perspective of Ken and he's kind of bummed that he doesn't even know his purpose as a boyfriend, but he isn't
the beach.
Well, but yeah, it's deeper than that, right? Because he wants to stay over at Barbie's house. He doesn't know what he's going to do there, but he wants to stay over there. It's like, nope, sorry, just go ahead and and do that. You know, it's like, he doesn't know what his purpose is. He can beach really well. He can beach off fantastically, and he'll beach off anyone. But at the same time, it's I just like the fact that they do a little bit more of a deeper dive, and you can get some different interpretations of the movie and the characters throughout.
Thought it was really interesting as they really called out the fact that if you have no possible ability of like starting a family, and if sex isn't on the table, right, due to smooth plastic parts, it like, where's the value of the link up, right? Where's that at? And in this instance, they give weakness or perceived weakness due to whatever, and physical strength isn't a thing because nobody's got to carry anything. They don't even have to walk upstairs. They just elegantly float to the ground. And then you get Ken going through like Ken's dream world, the realization that men were in charge, and Ken reading about the patriarchy. I'm not a Gosling fan. I'm not. Like, he bugs me from The Notebook on. Like, I liked Crazy Stupid Love. I think that's the only movie he's in that I really enjoyed, and it's mostly because of Steve Carell. But I was totally in on this discovery of the patriarchy and horses. For some reason, horses were involved, and it was great. I can't imagine what it would be like to like feel so accepted and so right just walking in the door.
I want to rewind back to, I'll agree with you about Ryan Gosling. I'm not a huge Ryan Gosling fan. I really don't seek his movies at all. My favorite movie with him in it is Remember the Titans. But man, that guy was a complete liability for defense. He could not cover his man whatsoever.
He was barely in that movie, though. He was
there. He was there. I remembered him.
He was there as much as Ethan Suplee was there. All right.
That was all an ensemble cast that all played very important parts. Yes. And he helped Petey get his spot. So I think it's just for Ryan Gosling in this movie, I thought he was just too old to be Ken, but holy shit, that guy is ripped.
I was like mad at how ripped he was almost. I was like, is that when you're more ripped than John Cena in the movie, I'm just a little worried. Is he okay?
He has deeper cut abs. Like, you needed to chisel those out of stone, because good God. So kudos to him and his workout routine. But
there's so much tea going on there. There's so much tea, because you said it, he's not that young, but that guy was taking, you know why he's so obsessed with horses? He was taking horse-sized testosterone pills to get his body to just process in that way.
HGH, baby.
Oh, man, the clear and the cream all going on at the Gosling household.
Allegedly. We're not saying that he does this stuff. We're just saying that one could assume, or at least allege, that Ryan Gosling does take some supplemental things to help with his physique. But I thought he did a good job in this movie. I thought he played the idiot very well. And he dug deep in his little Mickey Mouse fun club bag and did some dancing and choreography. So I enjoyed it.
He's the most versatile Mouseketeer.
I don't know. Brittany does crack. So
we haven't talked about the music in this movie yet. And I from the opening, definitely a fan. The wake up song was spot on and good, but then they just kept going and called out popular music a lot. And you're not a huge fan of that, I know, but it all kind of crested for me at Barbie running through Mattel to Mickey but like a remake, and they did a full-on Scooby-Doo scene, like different doors, different people, that whole thing. I was a fan. I was like, oh, they're just giving you things to enjoy from nostalgia everywhere. Did you notice that? Did it stick out to you?
Yeah, I had no problem with the music in this movie. The reason why I get mad at popular music in other movies is because it just turns into what is supposed to be a strong story or narrative. It just gets cheapened by throwing in like some popular music. Here, because everything is popular, I'm perfectly fine with it because this really is one big long music video. And so I'm cool with them. Just keep the hits coming. You know what? Put on Now What's Playing 987 and just hit play. And then you can put that to the backtrack of the Barbie movie. And they did have fairly good score throughout the movie too. So I appreciated that. But on this one, no problem with the popular music because it's supposed to be a popular type of movie. So I'm good with it. Dua Lipa, I'm a big fan of, so she can go ahead and keep cranking out the hits because they're all bangers. They're all bangers. You put it on Spotify, you'll probably listen to like every single Dua Lipa song. They're just that catchy, and she just has a really good voice. And I was even okay with that Barbie Girl remix. I was hoping for some Aqua, but or at
Yeah.
least the original Aqua song. But I'm okay with that remix, whoever was in it, and yeah, I'm good with it. I
I
like to have a
also
good time.
was I was expecting Barbie Girl Somewhere. I was disappointed. The one thing I wasn't expecting from a music perspective and absolutely loved was the fact that they used an old Matchbox 20 song basically as the anthem for the patriarchy.
I will say I despise Matchbox 20.
What?
I absolutely despise it.
Oh,
The guy needs to stop. Well, I mean, I don't think he comes out with music anymore. He might do some touring, but Rob Thomas needs to stop being so scared because every song he talked about how scared he was. And so that's Matchbox 20 to me. And like I don't like songs where it sounds like the guy is just he can't make up his mind between rock and roll or country. So he has this mashup. And so Matchbox 20 fell in that category. So did Creed. Just really hated their voices. And I was like, yeah, but it was funny. I did find it very funny that they just kept on playing that same song over and over on the guitar because let's face it, we probably knew someone in high school or maybe even college that would pop out the guitar and just play a song and the same song over and over again, or at least a couple different songs over and over again and sing along to it just to pick up girls.
but I just loved how the lyrics to Push absolutely support the patriarchy in the context.
Yeah, it's it's it fits, right? That's another thing that like if it fits in terms of like the tone of what's going on, I'm good with it. Unfortunately, it was a Matchbox 20 song, but yeah, I'm okay with them using it. At least I didn't hear Rob Thomas sing it, and I would have been just eternally just put into torture if he did sing it.
Yeah. Um, yeah, no. I started playing that song for my son. He's gonna learn the whole thing. It's gonna be great.
Ugh,
It's gonna be
gosh,
great.
awful.
Um, and then we get to the absolutely crazy Ken took over the Barbie world part of the movie with the Mojo Dojo Casa House.
What did you think about that? Like, how, like, were you just kind of like, oh, I'm all for this? What did you feel? If there was any other subcontext within that, what were your thoughts as you're going through that part of the
I
movie?
just it was so funny that they just took all of the male insecurities possible and rolled them into like the same situations. I think that one of the things that stuck out to me as they did all the Ken scenes was how many TVs they added to Barbie's dream house. Like every room had a big screen. And I was just like, oh, I do that. Oh,
Yeah,
that's terrible. And they're like, we're gonna get Blotto Daydrum. And I was like, yeah, no, that's definitely a bro thing to do
that
with your
is a
bros.
dude. Yeah, a dude thing for TVs everywhere. I say that every now and then. Hell, I want a TV in my office. I kind of for whenever we do like watch alongs or anything that involves a TV, I'll bring one to my office. And I was like, I should just get one for the office instead
Oh,
of
you
moving
should.
this.
You should. That's actually like a write-offable podcast expense. There's one literally like right above my camera. 60 inches of wonder. Let's go.
I when it comes to them kind of almost just being uber macho, then you go back into that whole part of these guys are fucking assholes. These guys are pieces of shit. This is what happens when you give people too much power. And so I like the fact that then it goes back to men being the bad guys, right? Or men being the irresponsible ones. I think anyone with a ton of power is completely irresponsible anyways. So whether they're male or female, I found myself conflicted at that point of the movie because I'm thinking to myself like, well, yeah, Ken deserves a place to stay. He should have something besides just like laying on the beach somewhere. Why is that the case? Like, why can't he have a house to stay in? So I was like, which way should I be feeling right now? Should I be feeling sorry for the human aspect of things, or should I just take this at face value where it's like, okay, now the script is flipped. Let's just go along for the ride. Did you have any issues with that throughout the movie where you're kind of like, oh, I feel for Barbie, I feel for Ken, like, but at the same time, this could be wrong, this could be right?
So I think that there's arguments to be had both ways. I think that the Ken deserves a house thing is okay, but why does he have to take Barbie's house? Right? Why is there this level of who's important and who's not? And as they introduce the patriarchy and the male privilege into this movie, I thought it was done in such a like an interesting and brilliant way to where they just used very basic stupid Ken examples and like flipped the expectation up that Barbie's capability in the movie, regardless, the president, the Nobel Prize winner, the whatever. No, you're just gonna go get me drinky beers and put on a maid outfit and stuff like that. Like the expectation of the patriarchy, I think is just as insulting as Ken's just an accessory. Even though that's the point, right? Like when you focus on the world that this movie creates for Barbie, that was the intent of Barbie, is to give confidence in the patriarchy, right? To make little girls not worry about what the men are doing, but that they can raise themselves up and achieve that. And I thought that they showed it in a very interesting way, that they gave the point counterpoint, and the way that they articulated the explanation of ridiculosity, right? Is when they gave the cognitive dissonance speech that everybody needed to hear, and then they just were like, oh, that makes sense. I don't know why I was listening to him. Let's take Barbie Land back. It was I think a very interesting way and impactful way to broach that subject when I don't know how often it's broached, right? It's always like this assumptive thing that all girls should feel good about themselves for themselves. But how often do you put that out there for everybody to digest, and to put it out there with arguably the biggest name in girls only stuff, right? I thought that part of the movie and that underlying tone really, like, I thought it was done really well. And I didn't give a shit about Ken being upset. Ken should go beach.
Okay. So you were just pro Barbie then? You're just pro Barbie the whole way?
I don't think I was pro Barbie. I think I was anti stupid people revolution.
But isn't that kind of what Barbie like the Barbie land matriarchy, wasn't that kind of like stupid anyways?
I don't think so. I think they had a society that worked. And I think that Ken like lived there, did his thing, and then all of a sudden felt like he wasn't getting what he wanted. I don't think that there's like this necessity for, I think, Barbies and Kens to connect. Like, that you just let them do their thing, man. And Ken wasn't angry about it until he saw all the other Kens and he had to dick measure with them in his fringe, which we didn't talk about the fringe. The fringe was hilarious.
So I want to. You would think, for, and my apologies to any of the listeners or viewers who thought that this was just going to be a fun, happy-go-lucky podcast, but I love to take these types of movies and kind of just do my own critical analysis on it, just because I feel like there is a little bit of room for interpretation to where you can have this as a more serious plot point, but also still problematic with whatever type of society that comes up in the movie, whether it's Barbie Land or whether it's Mojo Dojo, Taco Loco, whatever the hell that Ken called it, right?
Mojo Dojo
Because
Casa House, buddy.
if you have it one way, there's problems. If you have it another way, it's problems. If you have them living in their own separate factions, they're problems, right? Because it's one of those things. The one thing I didn't really get a whole lot of, and maybe this is just something that I was expecting, was more unity between the Kens and the Barbies, and even Alan, right? Like they sort of said that at the end of the movie, right? Where it's like Ken can be Ken and Barbie can be Barbie and Alan can be Alan. But I felt like it's still very segregated as to how they could still all continue to live together. So maybe that's just maybe me being who I am, not, technically a minority, but depending on who you talk to, majority. So it's like I felt like there was still that level of segregation, not just by sex, but also by class and also by interest. And so I found that very interesting. And so I was like, this movie's a little bit deeper, or could be interpreted a little bit deeper. I'm sure there's some people that are out there, it's like, fuck that. That's just it. This movie's all about fashion and having a good time and girl power or whatever, right? So they can certainly take that interpretation of it, but I kind of like mine to where there's still problems and none of those problems really truly get solved. They just kind of are left there hanging.
Yeah, I think that the resolution was an agreement to move forward, right? The resolution was an education on both sides, because the Ken revolution was just because they wanted to, right? There was no benefit. Q Bono, right? Or Cray Bono. Nobody fucking bonos. Ken, who's a moron.
Is he a moron?
Oh, I think it's well documented.
Or has he just been held down and that is his expectation, and so no one has ever given him the opportunity to do so? I don't know. I think that here's the thing. I don't give a shit about Ken or Barbies in general, but I'm gonna, kind of poke the bear on that just to be like, is this really just like, was there resolution and did people really learn things, or was it just like, yeah, you know what, that was pretty bad, let's go back to the way that it was before, but we'll kind of have some understanding to each party. Yeah, let's just go back to the way things were before.
So basically you're standing up for blonde fragility is what you're telling me.
No, I'm saying that there's still a problem with segregation amongst the Kens, the Barbies, and the different classes of such. Mm-hmm. But that's just my interpretation of it, because I didn't want to go into this movie where it's just mindless. And I thought Greta Gerwig did a fantastic job of letting us be able to, as an audience, be able to interpret this and take this as we could. Because there's a lot of movies that it's just black and white. Good guy, bad guy, done. But here's a lot of in my opinion, there's a lot of gray area where you can have fun with this movie and kind of go into a deep rabbit hole and just be like, huh, if you look at it this way, this is where Ken is right or Ken is wrong or Barbie's right or Barbie's wrong. I like that. I like that about the movie.
Yeah. I also, speaking of things we liked, right? And the way that they tied this up with bringing Ruth Handler into it, or my favorite, like I saw it was Rhea Perlman and I was like, this is gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Because
she's such a sweet old lady, right?
I can't think of a movie that she's been in that I've seen that I haven't loved. I also can't think of the last movie I saw her in, but
Me neither.
I just remember her from like Matilda and basically the 80s.
I just remember for Cheers. That's it. That's all
I mean,
remember
isn't that
from.
enough though? Oh,
Yeah.
but then when they showed her at first, like they didn't give an idea. Will Ferrell had a drop-in line of, oh yeah, her ghost has a office on the 17th floor, and they put them together and really get the interpretation of the intent behind Barbie, and then she becomes a real boy. Basically, they Pinocchio this shit.
It's a good story. It really is a good story and some feel good moments just because you have some of the nostalgia there. Yeah, I dig it. I'm perfectly fine with Rhea Perlman in there. I don't know if I think that's definitely more effective to have her in that role as opposed to like Helen Mirren or something where she's like the older version of Barbie where she was just trying to like maintain her youth or something. That could have also been another interesting take as to like, yeah, I created Barbie so that way it's an extension of me so I could stay young forever, but that's not the case. And so but I like the direction that they took, but there's a lot of room that they could have gone either way for the movie, and just deep in my opinion. And there's not too many movies nowadays that I can say that are deep or could at least have multiple ways to interpret. But I want to talk about Alan. So Michael Cera as Alan. In the notes of this outline, you mentioned something that all of NSYNC is an Alan. Go into that a little bit more. I'm curious to hear your take on that.
You mentioned it a little bit, right? Where they were just talking about Alan being different and off. Alan in the fight scene, Alan killed a bunch of people, like, and that line that he just drops randomly in there, that all of NSYNC is an Alan, I thought was hilarious, and it just kind of encapsulated what they did. And to your point, right, this really smart writing that went into this, where they took all of these different characters, they touched the entire catalog, right? They had everything from pregnant Barbie, which again, I'm kind of the very few places they used it was hilarious. When Will Ferrell was scared of pregnant Barbie, it just got me. But the Alan thing was just so strong, and I can't think of a better actor for them to use either, except for Lance Bass.
I would say, McLovin might have been a good one. Christopher Mintz-Plasse. That could have been a nice Alan too. But yeah, Michael Cera. Michael Cera is so versatile. I think he's underappreciated about how versatile he is. One of my favorite roles is the drug-induced version of Michael Cera in This Is the End with like
that movie
Jonah
is
Hill.
So underrated.
So funny. But the fact that he's like doing hookers like in the bathroom and coke with him and everything, he's just like out of control, and everyone knows like, oh, Michael Cera's out of control, I'm not gonna hang out with that guy. It's just like the complete opposite
by Rihanna.
Yeah, just the complete opposite of what you think he is. And here it is again in this movie. He plays the friend to Ken, and he just goes berserk and starts kung fuing the hell out of everyone. and
I
just
mean,
bodies are just laying on there on the highway. So funny.
much like I did not expect Shang-Chi to dance, I did not expect Michael Sarah to kung fu.
The guy's got range, man. The guy's got range.
Dude, the guy's got more range than growing up Skipper. I mean, so crazy.
So Skipper, I remember from back in the day, like I said, since I wasn't a connoisseur of Barbies, I have no really no skin in the game for any of these characters, and neither did I really appreciate it as much as probably some of the others out there who were Barbie connoisseurs or who had collected Barbies. Um, I mean, what's so special about Skipper? It's her like kid sister, right?
I think it's her cousin or something. I just thought it was funny that they called out all of the ridiculous Barbie stuff like Sugar Daddy Ken and raise my arms and my boobs grow Skipper. Like
That was yeah, that is crazy.
all these like swings and misses that they made fun of was pretty great. Earring magic Ken, all these things. The John Cena character, right? The Ken is a mermaid thing is solid. It was really solid. So we had a listener that specifically asked some questions that she wanted to answer. So shout out to Courtney, who specifically asked if you played with Barbies when you were a kid. And it sounds like that answer is a big no.
I think I came into contact with a Barbie once, and I'm pretty sure I just tossed it off to the side and like tried to look for some other toys. So
It did not adequately represent the patriarch, so you got rid of it.
It didn't interest me whatsoever. I wanted GI Joes or at least some type of action figure, and the Barbie which was probably like the Barbie and in Toy Story 3 with like the leggings and everything. Yeah, I mean, I just didn't have an interest. So sorry, Courtney.
So as a young man, totally on the action figures, whether it be He-Man or Ninja Turtles, Thundercats, all those great 80s cartoons. No Barbies until my like younger sisters came along. So I was already like a teenager at that point and was not, it was like they were just laying around. They were not part of my toy repertoire. Barbie didn't have an X-Wing. Not cool enough.
Yeah. If Barbie didn't have an M60, I probably wasn't going to play with Barbie.
So if you were a Barbie, what Barbie would you be and why?
Like a legitimate Barbie, like Barbie, not Ken.
I mean, the answer can be anything, right? Because we're all just
Let's
living
just say
in a Barbie world.
We'll go with Barbie. I would be cosplay Barbie. That's what I would be. I would be cosplay Barbie, and there would be multiple outfits of what you can wear to different comic conventions. So that way you can have like, an Avengers outfit, you can have a spooky, scary outfit, and probably throw in one of those weird anime outfits too. And then there you go. Cosplay Barbie. That's what I would want to be.
Wow, that's a deep and very telling answer. And those of you that keep up on our Instagram, you can see cosplay Barbie doing interviews and just out there talking to the people. Cosplay Barbie, man of the people.
Yeah. Part-time Avenger does wear a wig, a blonde wig. So maybe I am just like a real life cosplay Barbie.
Dude, you're a Barbie girl in a Barbie world.
Let's go party.
My answer to this is I have no idea. And I'm not as sharp as you to come up with my own special Barbie. So yeah, I got nothing. But if somehow somebody could teach me the ways of the Ken abs, I'd be all into that. But I don't think I have the capacity to take that much testosterone and steroids or do that many like sit-ups.
So besides cosplay Barbie, you sparked an idea from me, or for me, and it would have to be Executive Chef Barbie.
Ooh.
Where Executive Chef Barbie, just pretentious as fuck, and it comes with the executive chef Barbie comes with like a voice box where you just it yells out, "Yes, chef," and "Hands, chef," just shit from the bear, right? So all
Oh
the
man.
dialogue for the bear, just stuff that you could say, and also some random band-aids in case you cut your fingers while chopping vegetables. And then there you go, executive chef Barbie.
Barbie with less than a, it's just small
Yeah.
kitchen injury Barbie.
Good
Wow.
stuff.
Wow. Oh man. So before we ask the most important question, there's one more thing that I think we can touch on that was kind of an ask um here. And that's when you went into this movie and now that you've seen it, did you think that this was just a chick flick? Or do you feel like it is a quality time spent movie? Would you, I mean, you took your sons to this movie, and I'm assuming it wasn't only at the behest of your wife.
It totally was. But but I mean, I didn't think it was going to be a, in quotes, girl movie, right? I think there would be plenty of nods to Barbie, and they absolutely did that, right? And it was really interesting for me as someone who's never, I've never even dipped a toe in the Barbie pool at all. So I found it interesting. I didn't think it was a girl movie. I did at certain times think that this was just going to go full bore girl power. Girls are the best. Men suck. They're scum. Just we're the forces of nature. But like I said, maybe it's because I wanted to see this because I just didn't want to walk out of that movie thinking that it was just all girl power. But because I saw some of those ways to interpret it, I thought this would be a good movie for anyone to watch. And yeah, I'll stay with that sentiment, thinking like, yeah, it's not just, under the social constructs of society. It's not a girl movie. It's not a boy movie. It's just a movie, and it's your choice to see it. What about you?
I saw this. I saw this in theaters because you already went and said, we're going to do this for the podcast, right? And I saw the opening weekend numbers on it, and I'm like, ah, fuck. And I'd already gone to see like Oppenheimer, thinking I'll get Dan to go see Oppenheimer, and we'll talk about that. So I did, and my wife had already gone to see it. She went with her sister and her aunt, who hit us up on Instagram Live. Shout out Connie, saying you need to review Barbie. So the pressure was there to get me to go see it. Not because I thought it was for girls or for boys, but because I had the level of interest that I have in seeing the second Twilight movie in it. And I will say, after seeing it, I think that this was probably one of the better movies I've seen all year. I think that it doesn't have a to your point, like a single sex connotation to it. I just think it's just a fun movie and a way to really look at a social construct through a different lens.
I think, and kind of going back to your viewing of the movie. So was your wife pissed? Like, wait, you are gonna review Barbie and you're going to see Barbie by yourself? Like, why didn't you just go with me? Like, was she mad about that at all?
I was childcare when she went to see Barbie. I was
Okay.
not invited or included in
Ah,
that solely for the reason that I would be the negative commentary on the way there and in preparation for the movie to play. So
but how dare you think that Mark would have been a negative Nancy about some
yeah,
of the commentary on that? How dare
is
you?
that ever the case?
How sexist is that?
Oh, so sexist.
God, you are just a Ken, Mark. This is what this movie.
Dude, all I do is beach, bro.
I'm
All I do is
disgusted.
beach.
Disgusted, absolutely disgusted. So before we sign off here, I've got a question for you, Mark. When it comes to the movie Barbie, can you do this all day?
I walked out of that movie absolutely shocked at how much I really enjoyed it. how much there were so many drop-ins that made me laugh. I was the person that was laughing probably inappropriately loud at things in the movie. So I would watch this movie again, and do feel that it is a very strong and worthwhile message to continue to learn from just that. So yeah, no, this is an all day for me. I'm shocked that it is in hindsight, but this might be the best movie I've seen all year, just because it was fun. I've got a feeling that your take may be different. So, live from your Mojo Dojo Casa house, can you do this movie all day?
In my testosterone filled rage right now, I am going back and forth on this. Because on my personal algorithm of movies, right, you have nostalgia there. Even though I didn't play with Barbies or anything like that, there's a lot of things that just reminded me of the 80s, and obviously like commercials and girls in my class when I was younger that would talk about Barbies, right? So there's a lot of nostalgia there. Same thing with like the music, right? And it's funny. There's some action in it. I am, contrary to popular belief, I am a fan of the arts, so I do appreciate like some of the dancing and stuff. So it's from a talent perspective and on paper, it seems like, wow, this is going to go pretty far, and it should qualify under the necessary criteria. But I'm kind of going back and forth on the repeat watching, right? Because there's the movie, in my opinion, for my interpretation of it, different ways that you can interpret it. But would it just be repeat watchings just to see if I'm right, or because I actually enjoy the movie? So to give this the for sure, I can do this all day rating, I don't know. So I'm actually still on the fence about it. But I'm kind of teetering. More of it's leaning towards I can do this all day, but it's probably just maybe a few steps ahead of I can do this all day. So I'm going to say yes, but it's not, it's not the highest of, I'm not watching this every year, right? But I'll watch it again for sure.
Dude, just think of Alan and nod your head yes. Like, be honest.
It's funny. It's got some good stuff in it. But like I said, to give this a true I can do this all day rating, it's not like I'm dying to see it again, right? It's not like once it comes to streaming, like, hey, we're going to make a movie night. This is what we're going to watch. I'm going to watch it again if my wife wants to. And I won't have any problems with watching it. So,
but I just in context, has there been anything this year that's come out that you're like, I have to watch this again immediately?
Absolutely. John Wick 4, Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Those are the two strongest ones.
I do want to catch up on Guardians. I'm not in the Wick verse. You haven't forced me to do that yet. You haven't forced me.
Both of those movies I've seen multiple times in different states. So I am a John Wick fan. I'm a Guardians of the Galaxy fan. The other movies that I've seen multiple times this year have all been retro rewind worthy. So nothing that's brand new in the theaters.
Yeah, this was strong though. That's
a solid movie. Movie. So to make sure that everyone's clear, I can do this all day, but I'm not saying I'm gonna like ride or die for Barbie. This is just, it's a solid movie.
I think for you that's a big step, and I think the audience would agree.
So we talked about if we can do this all day. We got two pretty good endorsements for the movie for Barbie. But I wanted to give some special shout outs. And you had mentioned before that we went live the other day. So also want to give a shout out to Dan21, Danny Boy Cosplays. They also joined in on the live. And of course, my wife also joined in on the live. And by the way, she also left the first out of everyone. She was just like, fuck this, I'm out of here. So maybe not shout out for my wife. But for our Instagram and TikTok, we did post a couple of fun interviews. I went to the Tampa Bay Comic-Con and did a few interviews with some people. So just want to give a shout out to Lily Button, Mannyverse, Just J Cosplay, and Demetrius. Really great interviews. If you haven't seen them, go on to our socials, whether it's on TikTok or Instagram, check them out. And I have also posted some of them on our YouTube channel. But that's it, folks. We got a chance to dive into the matriarchy and patriarchy and the flat out fun of Barbie. But until next time, I'm Dan, the part-time Avenger. That's Mark, the Resident Jedi.
Don't forget to check out those social loops, like, subscribe, comment, check out their awesome costumes and all of Dan's looks from the Comic-Con, which were all super tight.
Have a good one, everyone.